Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you something. Have you ever clicked on a video or an article expecting something incredible, only to feel completely disappointed? Maybe the title said, "You won't believe what happened next," and you believed it. And then nothing. It was all a lie. You see, we live in a world that's running on attention. Everyone is fighting for clicks, for likes, for views. But at what cost? At the cost of trust. At the cost of truth. And my friend, when we lose truth, we lose everything. I know what it's like to feel like you have to prove yourself. I was born without arms and legs, and I grew up wondering if I would ever be enough. Would people accept me? Would they see my heart or just my disability? And you know what I realized? It's not about impressing people. It's about being real. Clickbait is like a mask. It hides the truth to get attention. It's selfish. It says, I don't care if you feel cheated as long as I get what I want. But when we live like that, we lose something bigger than views. We lose our integrity. But what if we did things differently? What if we chose self-control instead of selfishness? What if, instead of tricking people into clicking, we created something that actually added value? What if we stopped chasing quick fame and started building long-term trust? Some people say, Nick, everybody does it. That's just how the internet works. But you know what? Everybody said a man with no arms and no legs couldn't live a full life, and yet here I am traveling the world, speaking, inspiring, and loving every second of my life. Just because the world says something is normal doesn't mean it's right. You don't have to follow the crowd. You have the power to stand out, to be different, to be real. And when you do, people will notice. They will see your honesty. They will see your heart. And they will trust you. So today I challenge you, choose self-control, choose integrity, choose truth. Because when you do, you won't just change your content, you'll change lives. Words have the power to build or destroy, to inspire or manipulate, to heal or harm. Every word we speak, write, or share carries weight, shaping the way people think, feel, and act. In the digital age where millions of words flood our screens daily, their impact is even greater. A single phrase can spark a movement, while a misleading statement can shatter trust. Clickbait thrives on this power, using exaggerated or deceptive language to draw people in. It preys on curiosity, promising something extraordinary but often delivering disappointment. Words like shocking, unbelievable, or life-changing are thrown around so often that they lose their meaning. Instead of informing or inspiring, they manipulate emotions for personal gain. This misuse of language doesn't just affect one person. It creates a culture of skepticism where people no longer believe what they see. When words are used with honesty and intention, they become a force for good. They educate, uplift, and connect people. A well-crafted message, free from deception, has the ability to inspire real change. Think of the speeches that have moved nations, the stories that have changed perspectives, and the simple words of encouragement that have given someone hope. These moments are not built on exaggeration, but on truth. In contrast, misleading words erode credibility. A person or platform that relies on clickbait may attract attention for a moment, but over time people stop trusting them. A reputation built on false promises eventually crumbles. Words should be chosen with care, not just for short-term engagement, but for long-term impact. The power of words is undeniable, and how they are used determines whether they become a tool for manipulation or a means of meaningful connection. Every action begins with intent, and the same applies to the way content is created and shared. Behind every headline, every post, and every video title, There is an underlying purpose. The question is whether that purpose is to inform and engage honestly or to manipulate and mislead for personal gain. Intent is what separates genuine content from deceptive clickbait. When someone creates content with the intention of adding value, their approach is different. They choose words that accurately represent their message, ensuring that the audience gets exactly what was promised. Their goal is to educate, entertain, or inspire, rather than to simply attract attention at any cost. This kind of intent fosters trust, strengthens relationships, and builds credibility over time. People come back to honest creators because they know their time won't be wasted. On the other hand, when intent is driven by selfish motives, the focus shifts from serving others to exploiting them. Clickbait headlines often use exaggerated claims, shocking statements, or emotional triggers to lure people in. The intention behind them is not to deliver real value, but to increase views, engagement, or revenue. This approach prioritizes short-term gain over long-term trust. Even if it works initially, the audience eventually recognizes the pattern, starts to feel manipulated. Once trust is broken, it's difficult to rebuild. Intent also influences the way content is presented. Someone with good intent ensures their work is accurate and ethical, while someone with selfish intent may twist facts or leave out important details. The impact of content is not just in the words used, but in the reason they were chosen. The mindset behind creation determines whether it uplifts or deceives, informs or exploits, builds or destroys. The temptation of quick success can be overwhelming, especially in a world where instant gratification is celebrated. Many content creators, businesses, and influencers chase short-term gain using tactics like clickbait, sensationalism, and exaggeration to attract immediate attention. These strategies may work in the moment, drawing in large audiences, increasing engagement, and generating revenue. However, the real question is whether this success is sustainable. Short-term gain often comes at the cost of long-term trust. When people click on a misleading title or a deceptive post, they may initially feel intrigued, but once they realize the content does not deliver what was promised, disappointment sets in. If this happens repeatedly, frustration turns into distrust. Audiences begin to recognize patterns, and rather than feeling engaged, they feel manipulated. Once that trust is broken, it is incredibly difficult to regain. Long-term success is built on authenticity and reliability. Brands and individuals who prioritize honesty may not experience overnight virality, but they establish credibility over time. People value those who consistently provide meaningful, transparent, and valuable content. They return not because they were tricked into clicking, but because they trust that what they see is what they will get. This trust creates a loyal audience, one that shares content, supports creators, and contributes to lasting impact. The digital world is flooded with noise, and people are becoming more discerning about what they consume. Those who sacrifice trust for temporary gains may find themselves struggling when their audience moves on. On the other hand, those who invest in honesty and consistency, the choice between short-term gain and long-term trust is not just about content. It reflects values, integrity, and the kind of impact one wants to make. Integrity has never been more important than in the digital age, where information spreads faster than ever and trust is fragile. The internet provides limitless opportunities to share ideas, connect with people, and influence opinions, but it also presents countless temptations to manipulate, deceive, or exaggerate for personal gain. With just a few clicks, anyone can create content that reaches thousands, even millions. But the real question is whether that content is built on truth or deception. The challenge of maintaining integrity online comes from the constant pressure to stand out. The competition for views, likes, and shares often leads creators and influencers to resort to misleading headlines, exaggerated claims, or sensationalized content. While these tactics may drive engagement in the short term, they ultimately damage credibility. When people discover they have been misled, they feel cheated, and once integrity is lost, it is nearly impossible to rebuild. True integrity in the digital space means choosing honesty, even when deception seems easier. It means creating content that is not only engaging, but also truthful and valuable. It requires resisting the urge to manipulate emotions for clicks and instead focusing on delivering substance. People may not always remember every piece of content they consume, but they will remember how it made them feel. If they associate a creator with honesty and authenticity, they are more likely to return and support them in the long run. Technology evolves, trends change, and platforms rise and fall, but integrity remains timeless. In a world full of misinformation, being a person of integrity is not just a moral choice, it is a distinguishing factor. Those who choose to uphold truth, fairness, and honesty in the digital world set themselves apart and create a reputation that stands the test of time. Creators hold immense influence in shaping opinions, spreading information, and driving conversations in the digital world. Every post, video, article, or message they share has the potential to impact people's thoughts, emotions, and decisions. With this power comes a great responsibility. Not just to entertain or engage, but to ensure that their content is ethical, truthful, and valuable. The choices they make determine whether they contribute to a culture of integrity or one of manipulation and deception. The responsibility of creators goes beyond just producing content. It involves being mindful of the accuracy of the information they share, the emotional impact of their words, and the ethical implications of their methods. Many creators, in the pursuit of more views and engagement, resort to clickbait, sensationalism, or misinformation, often justifying it as a necessary tactic in a competitive digital space. However, this approach erodes trust over time. Audiences may be drawn in at first, but repeated manipulation leads to skepticism. And once credibility is lost, it is extremely difficult to regain. Creators also have a responsibility to promote meaningful conversations rather than fuel negativity or division. The internet is already flooded with misleading content, unnecessary outrage, and half-truths. Choosing to create content that informs, inspires, or educates rather than misleads or exploits emotions makes a real difference. People look up to content creators, whether they are social media influencers, journalists, or educators. Their words and actions set an example, influencing how others behave and engage with content. Being a creator is not just about personal success. It is about contributing to a digital space where people can trust what they see and hear. It is a commitment to honesty, integrity, and the greater good rather than just numbers and clicks. The impact of responsible content creation goes beyond engagement metrics. It shapes culture, trust, and the future of digital communication. Clickbait addiction is a growing issue in the digital world where engagement and attention have become the most valuable currency. People are constantly drawn to exaggerated headlines, dramatic thumbnails, and emotionally charged phrases that promise shocking revelation. The cycle begins with curiosity, a title or image that sparks an immediate need to click. Even when the content fails to deliver what was promised, the pattern continues because the next headline seems even more irresistible. This creates a loop where users repeatedly engage with misleading content, often without realizing how much time and energy they are wasting on superficial or deceptive material. The addiction to clickbait is fueled by the way the human brain processes information. Sensationalized titles trigger an emotional response, whether it is excitement, fear, or outrage, that compels people to seek immediate answers. Platforms and content creators understand this psychological pull and design their content to exploit it. Algorithms further reinforce this behavior by pushing similar content making it harder to break free from the cycle. The more people engage with clickbait, the more the system rewards it, leading to an internet flooded with misleading and exaggerated content. The consequences of clickbait addiction go beyond wasted time. It creates a culture of distrust, where audiences grow skeptical of even genuine information. Repeated exposure to misleading content can numb people to truth and accuracy, making them more susceptible to misinformation. It also affects creators who feel pressured to prioritize sensationalism over meaningful content just to stay relevant. Breaking free from this addiction requires awareness, critical thinking, and a conscious effort to engage with content that is informative and truthful rather than simply attention-grabbing. When people start valuing substance over spectacle, the digital space can shift toward a healthier and more trustworthy environment. In a digital landscape driven by attention, the temptation to resort to sensationalism is stronger than ever. The pressure to generate clicks, views, and engagement can make exaggeration seem like the easiest path to success. Sensational headlines, shocking claims, and emotionally charged content often spread faster than well-researched, balanced information. However, while sensationalism may create short-term excitement, it rarely builds lasting trust. This is where self-control becomes essential, not just for creators, but for audiences as well. Self-control in content creation means resisting the urge to manipulate emotions for the sake of engagement. It requires choosing honesty over hype, even when exaggeration seems like the faster way to get attention. A creator with self-control prioritizes accuracy, ensuring that their content reflects reality rather than distorting it for dramatic effect. This approach fosters credibility and builds a loyal audience that values truth over spectacle. While it may take longer to gain recognition this way, the trust earned is far more valuable than fleeting viral success. The audience's self-control means recognizing and avoiding content designed to exploit emotions. It involves pausing before clicking on sensationalized headlines and questioning whether the information is reliable. When viewers become more discerning, they contribute to a culture that rewards authenticity instead of manipulation. Algorithms respond to audience behavior, meaning that collective choices can shift the digital space toward more responsible content. The battle between self-control and sensationalism is ultimately a choice between integrity and instant gratification. Those who practice restraint in what they create and consume contribute to a more honest and informative digital world. In an era where exaggerated narratives dominate, self-control becomes a powerful tool for fostering meaningful, truthful, and impactful communication. Trust is one of the most valuable assets anyone can have, whether as an individual, a brand, or a content creator. It takes time to build, but can be lost in an instant. In the digital world, where misinformation spreads rapidly and attention is constantly divided, trust is even more fragile. People rely on creators, influencers, and platforms to provide honest, reliable content, but when that trust is broken, the consequences are severe. The cost of trust is evident when misleading content is exposed. A creator who repeatedly uses clickbait or exaggeration may attract large audiences at first, but once people realize they have been deceived, they stop engaging. Audiences do not easily forgive being misled, and even a single instance of deception can cause long-term damage. Losing credibility means losing followers, opportunities, and even financial stability, as advertisers and sponsors prefer to associate with trustworthy individuals and brands. Trust is not just about accuracy, but also about consistency. If people cannot rely on someone to be honest and transparent every time, they will eventually turn elsewhere. Many creators and media outlets have learned this the hard way, facing backlash, declining engagement, and reputational damage after prioritizing quick gains over long-term credibility. The digital space moves quickly, but reputations linger, and rebuilding trust once it is lost is a slow and difficult process. Those who prioritize honesty may not always achieve instant success, but they build a foundation that lasts. A loyal audience is worth far more than a temporary surge in views. Trust is earned through responsible content, fair representation of facts, and a commitment to authenticity. In a world where skepticism is increasing, those who protect and value trust will always stand out. Content creation is more than just a means to gain attention. It is an opportunity to inform, inspire, and make a meaningful impact. In a digital world saturated with distractions, people are constantly consuming information, but not all content adds value to their lives. Some content exists purely for engagement, designed to capture clicks rather than contribute something meaningful. On the other hand, content with a purpose goes beyond surface-level entertainment and serves a deeper role in educating, uplifting, or sparking meaningful conversations. When content is created with a purpose, it resonates with people on a deeper level. It has the power to change perspectives, challenge existing beliefs, and even motivate action. Whether it is a well-researched article, a powerful video, or a simple yet thought-provoking post, content that serves a purpose stays with the audience long after they have engaged with it. It is not about just producing something viral, but about making a real difference in someone's life, whether by providing knowledge, encouragement, or a new way of thinking. Creators who prioritize purpose over popularity build credibility and trust. Their audience recognizes that they are not just seeking views, but genuinely aiming to share something of value. This approach fosters long-term loyalty rather than fleeting attention. While clickbait and sensationalized content may attract immediate engagement, purposeful content builds a lasting reputation and a dedicated community of people who appreciate authenticity. The impact of purposeful content is not measured only by numbers, but by the depth of its influence. It challenges the status quo of superficial engagement and instead promotes meaningful interaction. When creators commit to producing content with integrity and a genuine message, they contribute to a digital space that is more thoughtful, insightful, and ultimately more beneficial to those consuming it. Manipulation is rooted in self-interest, designed to control perceptions, emotions, or actions for personal gain. It is a deliberate act that prioritizes the manipulator's goals over the well-being of others. In the digital world, manipulation often takes the form of clickbait, misinformation, or exaggerated content meant to provoke reactions rather than provide real value. While it may seem like a clever strategy to increase engagement, it ultimately disregards the trust and intelligence of the audience. When someone manipulates, they are not considering the long-term impact on their credibility or the people they deceive. They are focused on immediate rewards, higher views, more clicks, increased revenue, without regard for how their tactics affect others. Audiences who fall for manipulation may feel misled, frustrated, or even exploited. Over time, repeated exposure to such deceptive practices leads to skepticism and distrust, not just toward the individual or platform responsible, but toward digital content in general. Manipulation also creates a cycle of negativity. When creators prioritize misleading tactics, others feel pressure to do the same in order to compete. This fuels an environment where dishonesty becomes normalized, making it harder for truthful and ethical content to thrive. Instead of fostering meaningful discussions and knowledge sharing, the digital space becomes cluttered with misleading information designed to serve selfish motives. The alternative to manipulation is transparency and integrity. Choosing honesty over deception may not always yield instant gratification, but it builds lasting respect and trust. Audiences appreciate content that values them as intelligent individuals rather than as targets for exploitation. True influence is not about tricking people into engagement. It is about providing something valuable that keeps them coming back willingly. Those who reject manipulation in favor of authenticity contribute to a more honest and responsible digital world. The digital world thrives on trends, patterns, and formulas that dictate what gets attention. Many creators follow the same path, using sensationalism, clickbait, and emotional manipulation because it appears to be the most effective way to gain views and engagement. This cycle continues because it seems like the norm, an accepted way to succeed in an environment where attention is the ultimate currency. However, real impact comes from breaking free from this repetitive pattern and choosing a different path, one that prioritizes honesty, originality, and substance over shallow engagement. Breaking free from the norm means rejecting the pressure to conform to deceptive tactics just because they appear successful. It requires the courage to create content that is not just designed to attract clicks, but to provide real value. This shift may not always yield instant rewards, but it builds credibility and establishes a long-term connection with an audience that appreciates authenticity. When creators focus on meaningful content rather than short-lived viral trends, they set themselves apart and create something that resonates on a deeper level. This change is not just for creators, but for audiences as well. Viewers play a role in shaping digital culture by choosing what to engage with and support. When they stop rewarding misleading content and instead prioritize thoughtful, well-crafted information, they encourage more responsible and ethical content creation. It is a collective effort to shift from a system driven by deception to one that values truth and quality. Choosing a different path in a world that thrives on superficiality is not easy, but it is necessary. Those who dare to be different, to create and consume with integrity, lead the way toward a more honest, trustworthy, and meaningful digital space. Change begins when people stop following the norm and start setting new standards. In a world obsessed with numbers, it is easy to believe that success is measured solely by views, likes, and shares. The pursuit of viral content can become an endless chase where creators focus more on immediate engagement than on the lasting impact of their work. However, true success is not about momentary popularity, it is about building a legacy. A legacy is not defined by how many people clicked on a video or read a post, but by how deeply that content influenced, inspired, or educated others. Building a legacy requires thinking beyond short-term gains. It means creating content that stands the test of time, something that people return to because it holds genuine value. Viral moments fade, but meaningful work remains relevant long after the initial wave of attention passes. Those who focus only on numbers may experience temporary success, but those who prioritize authenticity and purpose create something far more lasting, a reputation of trust, credibility, and impact. A legacy is built through consistency, honesty, and a commitment to real value. When creators choose to inform rather than mislead, to inspire rather than manipulate, and to contribute rather than exploit, they establish themselves as voices worth listening to. Audiences remember those who provide knowledge, perspective, and meaningful engagement, not just those who capture their attention for a fleeting moment. The difference between chasing views and building a legacy is the mindset behind the content. Those who create with integrity understand that true influence is not measured by immediate reactions, but by the long-term effect their work has on others. By focusing on depth over reach, they create something that outlasts trends and continues to make a difference, proving that real success is not about being seen, it is about being remembered. The digital world is filled with voices competing for attention, but not all of them lead by example. With social media, streaming platforms, and online communities shaping the way people think and behave, being a role model in the digital space carries great responsibility. Every post, comment, and interaction has the potential to influence others, especially younger audiences who look up to creators, influencers, and public figures. Those who embrace this responsibility can create a positive impact far beyond what they may initially realize. Being a role model online does not mean being perfect. It means being authentic, ethical, and mindful of the content shared. In an era where misinformation and sensationalism spread rapidly, setting an example through honesty and integrity makes a difference. People are drawn to those who stand by their values, acknowledge their mistakes, and prioritize truth over popularity. Role models understand that their words and actions carry weight, influencing the beliefs and behaviors of those who follow them. Encouraging respectful discussions, spreading positivity, and creating meaningful content are essential aspects of digital leadership. Instead of engaging in controversy for engagement or misleading audiences for views, a true role model promotes constructive conversations and critical thinking. They use their platform not just to gain attention, but to uplift, educate, and inspire others. They recognize that their influence can shape digital culture, either fueling negativity or fostering an environment of growth and respect. The internet allows for limitless reach, meaning the responsibility of being a good example extends beyond immediate followers. Every post and interaction has the potential to set a precedent for others. Choosing to be a role model means making decisions that reflect integrity and purpose, ensuring that one's digital presence contributes to a better, more responsible online world. Engagement is the heartbeat of the digital world, driving interactions, visibility, and influence. Many creators and brands chase engagement through any means necessary, often resorting to clickbait, exaggeration, or emotional manipulation to capture attention. While these tactics may produce immediate spikes in views and interactions, they lack the substance needed for long-term impact. Honest engagement, built on authenticity and trust, is far more powerful, because it fosters genuine connections rather than fleeting interest. When engagement is honest, it creates a loyal audience that values the creator for their authenticity rather than just their ability to grab attention. People appreciate content that respects their intelligence, provides real value, and encourages meaningful conversations. Instead of feeling tricked into clicking or reacting, they engage because they find the content relatable, thought-provoking, or informative. This type of interaction builds trust, leading to stronger connections that outlast viral trends. Honest engagement also leads to higher quality discussions. Rather than fueling outrage or deception, creators who prioritize authenticity encourage constructive dialogue. When audiences feel heard and respected, they are more likely to contribute thoughtful insights and support content creators who align with their values. This strengthens communities and makes digital spaces more positive and impactful. Brands and influencers who commit to genuine engagement benefit in the long run. While misleading tactics may attract temporary attention, trust is what keeps people coming back. Audiences remember those who were honest and consistent, and they reward them with continued support. The power of honest engagement is not in how quickly it generates numbers, but in how deeply it resonates with people. When creators focus on meaningful interactions rather than just metrics, they build something lasting. An audience that stays, supports, and believes in what they stand for. The digital world connects people across distances, cultures, and backgrounds, yet it often becomes a space filled with negativity, misinformation, and harmful interactions. In an environment where engagement is prioritized over ethics, the golden rule, treat others as you wish to be treated, becomes more important than ever. This simple yet powerful principle applies to every aspect of online behavior, from the way content is created to how people interact with one another. Applying the golden rule online means considering the impact of words before posting, sharing, or commenting. Just as no one likes to be deceived, misled, or manipulated, others deserve the same respect. Content that relies on clickbait, misinformation, or emotional exploitation violates this principle, prioritizing personal gain over honesty and the well-being of the audience. Ethical creators and influencers recognize that their responsibility is not just to entertain, but to contribute positively to the digital space, ensuring that what they share is truthful, respectful, and valuable. This rule extends to online interactions as well. Social media and comment sections often become battlegrounds of negativity where people say things they would never say in person. Practicing kindness, empathy, and constructive communication fosters a more positive and productive online environment. Instead of attacking, assuming the worst, or spreading negativity, choosing to engage with respect and understanding leads to healthier discussions and stronger communities. The internet amplifies every action, making it easy for negativity to spread, but the same is true for positivity. When people commit to treating others with fairness, honesty, and respect, they set a standard that influences those around them. Following the golden rule online is not just about personal integrity. It is about shaping a digital culture where authenticity, kindness, and ethical behavior are the norm rather than the exception. The pursuit of success in the digital world often comes with a temptation to prioritize personal gain over ethical responsibility. Greed drives many creators and influencers to chase numbers at any cost, using deceptive tactics, misleading content, and emotional manipulation to maximize engagement. While these strategies may produce immediate results, they come at the expense of trust, integrity, and long-term credibility. Self-control is the key to resisting these temptations, ensuring that success is built on honesty rather than exploitation. Self-control means choosing ethical practices even when shortcuts appear more profitable. It requires creators to think beyond instant gratification and consider the long-term consequences of their actions. Greed pushes individuals to exaggerate, sensationalize, and mislead in the pursuit of clicks and revenue. But self-control ensures that content remains truthful, respectful. A creator who exercises restraint and focuses on quality rather than manipulation builds an audience that trusts and respects their work. The effects of greed extend beyond individual creators. When digital spaces become saturated with misleading content, audiences become skeptical and disengaged. Misinformation spreads, ethical creators struggle to gain visibility, and the overall quality of online interactions declines. However, when self-control is prioritized, a culture of responsibility and authenticity takes root. It encourages a shift from short-term exploitation to meaningful, long-lasting engagement. Practicing self-control over greed is a challenge in an environment where attention equals profit, but it is a necessary step toward creating a more trustworthy digital space. Those who resist the urge to prioritize financial or personal gain over honesty contribute to a culture where value and credibility matter more than clicks. In the end, true success is not measured by immediate numbers, but by the lasting impact and trust built through ethical and responsible choices. The digital world is constantly evolving, shaped by the choices of creators, audiences, and platforms. Every individual who interacts online has a role in determining whether digital spaces become sources of truth, inspiration, and positive engagement, or places dominated by deception, manipulation, and fleeting trends. The responsibility does not lie solely with content creators. Audiences also influence the direction of online culture by deciding what to support, share, and engage with. It is time to take a stand for integrity, authenticity, and meaningful content. Creators must commit to ethical content practices, rejecting clickbait, sensationalism, and misleading tactics in favor of honesty and value-driven storytelling. This means focusing on content that informs, uplifts, and inspires rather than simply aiming for maximum engagement at any cost. Integrity must come before numbers, and trust must be valued over temporary success. Every post, video, or article has the power to either contribute to a better digital world or add to the problem of misinformation and superficiality. The choice is clear. Audiences also hold power in shaping the online landscape. Every click, share, and comment sends a message about what is acceptable and desirable in digital spaces. By being more discerning, questioning misleading headlines, and supporting ethical creators, people can influence the kind of content that thrives. Ignoring deceptive tactics and engaging with meaningful, high-quality content ensures that authentic voices gain visibility. The call to action is simple but urgent. Prioritize integrity over impulse, depth over virality, and truth over manipulation. Whether as a creator or a consumer, every decision made online contributes to the larger digital ecosystem. Change does not happen overnight, but every effort to promote honesty and responsible engagement brings the online world closer to one built on trust, respect, and authenticity. The digital world is a reflection of the choices we make, what we create, what we consume, and what we allow to thrive. Clickbait, manipulation, and greed may bring temporary success, but they erode trust and diminish the true potential of online platforms. Integrity, authenticity, and responsible engagement are not just ideals, they are necessities for a better digital future. It is time to reject deception and embrace honesty. Creators must commit to producing content that informs, inspires, and respects their audience. Consumers must demand truth, refusing to reward misleading tactics with their attention. Every click, share, and comment shapes the online space, determining whether it becomes a force for good or a playground for exploitation. The choice is in our hands. Will we be part of the problem, chasing empty metrics, or part of the solution, building something meaningful? True success is not measured by fleeting views, but by the impact we leave behind. Let us choose integrity over shortcuts, value over vanity, and legacy over likes. The digital world can be better, but only if we make it so.